Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Season 12 opener of the Invictus Racing League. My name is J. Cole, and I am going to be, of course, taking you guys through the entire season for Season 12. And you know what? I'm actually not alone this time. I have got a very, very special guest. I say special guest. I'm hoping he's going to be joining me throughout the season. It is Mr. Dan, aka Vapefield. How are you doing?
I'm doing brilliant tonight, and I'm really excited. This is my first ever time actually commentating on the PC platform. I've been on the PS4 for about a year now doing the commentary, so I've made the step up to the PC Master Race, and I cannot wait for these guys to get out on circuit and really show what they can do.
Yeah, PC Master Race, of course. Both of us in the League of Europe on PlayStation 4. I won't promote it because I don't think I'm allowed to, so I will just leave it at that. But yeah, so of course we do sort of know for each other anyway, so it's gonna be. I feel like it's just gonna make this a lot easier for the both of us throughout the season. But of course, as I said, our season opener being around Mexico circuit, one that I know is a bit of a tricky circuit. Of course, if you guys didn't manage to catch F1 on Monday or F2 yesterday, of course you're here for PC today, and F3 and F4 should be also live if they aren't already. Just make sure you guys are also all tuning in to that, as well as also checking out all of the socials on Invictus. Of course, you've got the likes of, bear with me 1 second, I am just getting all of that up for yourself, so you can probably see at any second what the track is looking like here. So there you go on your screen. You have got all of the socials down the bottom there. Invictus Racing League on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and at InvictusRL on the Twitter. And of course, you can also check out in their go to the website of InvictusRacingLeague.com. If you haven't already signed up yet, I believe that there are still a couple sign-ups that are open, so make sure you guys are going over there to sign up for this one as well. As you can see on your screen, this is the first time I'm racing there on the PC side, so we haven't had any winners here, so someone is going to be crowned the winner for today. That's up to you to decide who that is going to be. Well, not up to you, I suppose. It's up to the drivers who that's going to be. Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not putting it past any one of the two QVR boys who have always been so dominant for some unknown reason. And I'm hoping we're going to get a bit more of a challenge for this season. So I guess we'll wait and see. But speaking of that, I will get all of the teams up for yourself now, just so at least then you guys have an idea of who is in what team, because of course, new season, there's going to be a new lineup in the PC side. So, without further ado, here is what the teams are looking like for this season. So in the Mercedes, you have got Mysterious 667 and Lacarate. In the Ferrari, just on his lonesome is SK Fass. In the Red Bulls are MJ Coupe and Jos Heinze. Over in the McLarens, it is, well, just the one person of MRL Jasco. In the Renault, you've got Scopefielder and Skyzy. As I said, the two QVR boys teaming up once again in that same banana car. In the Racing Points are Mercked and KangoCon, and I've heard quite a few good things about KangoCon, so I'm intrigued to see how he's going to do. And then Mercked as well, also challenging the two QVR boys at the end of that season. In the Alfa Romeo are Jarp and another tall guy. So very loving those two names. In the Hasses, you got two of the RRL guys of Tommy01 and DC. In the AlphaTauris, you've got Mr. Plowup making a return, along with Kislyak. I think if I said that right, I hope I did, so apologies if I didn't. And then in the Williams, on his lonesome is just Wham. So another good name for the Williams, the Wham in the Williams, as I'd probably like to just keep on calling him throughout that season. But of course, we are here for the qualifying for this evening, and a few guys have already got times on the board there, Dan.
Yeah, we've got a couple times just up on the board already at 12. We just actually gone under 13 minutes. Currently sitting on provisional pole is Tommy01. He's on a 13.5. He's 2 tenths clear of his nearest rival at the moment, Mercked, in the Racing Point. And as you say, KangoCon, you've heard great things about him. Well, he's doing pretty well so far. He's in third position, just ahead of another tall guy. And then late. I'm not sure if it's lack rate or as if it's lace rate. I will have to ask him about that, but he's sitting in fifth position. SK Fass in sixth, then Plop in seventh, and DC sitting in eighth. Then Joss in ninth, and the last time put in, oh, it's not good, from Scopefielder at 19.6. He's one of only 10. Sorry, he's one of only 10 to have put in a lap. 5 drivers still yet to put our time on the board.
Yeah, no, it certainly is, and I think Scope's actually just going to be starting his proper lap now. I don't know if he made a mistake in his first one, but I can see he's ramped it up to hot lap mode in his ERS, so I think he is going to be going ahead to do his, I suppose, now his quali lap. Of course, we have still got 12 minutes left to go in the session anyway, so I'm sure he will probably get out and do another one very, very shortly. But yeah, I think he actually said it was 5 seconds up on his time. So we're right on board with our Season 11, or our Season 1 technically, PC champion of Scopefielder, as he's just making his way around the final corner and up towards the line. The Swede goes up into P4 with a 14.1. I don't think that's where he would like to be, especially at the start of his season, and also his teammate invalidating as well.
Yeah, I'm just seeing in the YouTube chat they're saying I'm a bit quiet at the moment, so I'm not too sure if that's something to do with my mic. I could try and change in my Discord settings, or it might be in Streamlabs, but I'm not too sure what's happening here because from Discord I sound fine, I think.
Yeah, it does sound fine for me as well. Let me see if I can just turn the game down a little bit more. It might just be the case that the game's just extremely loud. I thought I managed to turn it down enough, but yeah, strangely enough I didn't. So hopefully that should all be okay now, and hopefully the stream's going to be able to sort of hear you a lot better than what it was just a second ago. But yeah, I mean, just so far, a few good times that have come out at the moment. Just riding on board with Sharp, as I think I've managed to sort it. So hopefully you should be a bit louder on the stream, and guys should be able to hear Dan as well. Do you want to take us just through the rest of it, just to make sure that it is working perfectly fine?
Just on board with Zarp, yeah, he's just come through the final corner now. He's looking pretty strong on the end of this lap, out the final corner to cross the line. He goes into 6th position, 8 tenths off the pace, which puts him on a 14.3 into 6th, as only 11 drivers put in a lap so far. We've still got one name to watch out for, yet to put in a lap. He's still in the pits. It's Skyzy, of course, finishing second in the championship last season. He managed to take 4 wins off of his rivals, but he fell short to Scopefielder, who managed to clinch the title last season by quite some margin, finishing on the podium every race aside from one in Monaco. So yes, guys, he's just come out for his outlap now actually, and he's definitely going to want to put in a time to beat his teammate.
Yeah, no, he certainly will. Of course, he wants a revenge from last season. Of course, I know it was a very close battle between both him and Scopefielder for that title. Of course, teammate rivalries. I don't think they're going to play any sort of teammate cards into this unless they really think that somebody else could challenge it. Another interesting one as well. As I said, one of the RRL guys of Tommy01 at the top at the moment with a 13.5 is actually just riding on board of SK Fast. He's just put in a purple sector 1. But yeah, as I said, a few of these guys I've not particularly heard of, so I'm kind of intrigued to see if anybody are going to be challenging those 2 QVR boys this season. As I said, Merckx at the beginning of, at the end of last season, he was up there challenging the likes of Skyzy, challenging the likes of Scopefielder. So, I mean, hopefully these guys are going to have a bit more, or a few more battles with a few more guys up the front of the field, because I'm pretty sure that they were just getting bored of just battling each other for the entire of the season. But yeah, SK Fast currently on board with him in the Ferrari. He's just made his way up to the line and puts it into P6 with a 14.3 to his name.
Yeah, just coming through the last sector at the moment is Mysterious in that Mercedes car. The beautiful black Mercedes does not look like he's had the best stadium section now. Just rounding the final corner, opening up the steering. You need to keep it tight to the wall. He's not done so, and I think he's just started a lap. I haven't got the telemetry or the lap data on, so I was probably way off there. But yeah, it looks like he's going for a new lap. I'm not used to all the controls yet, so I do apologise.
No, that's fine, no problem. As you said, it's like it's one of your first times on the PC, just using the keyboard to get used to it, so completely understandable. Just obviously got to get used to it as much as you possibly can. But was just quickly riding on board with Skyzy. Unfortunately, the Frenchman has invalidated his lap once again, so he's now going to be a bit under pressure to try and get another lap in once he makes his way into the pits, as we have only got 7.5 minutes left to go of the session. And another thing that I've also just seen as well on that left-hand side is Lacerate or Lacerate. I still don't know how to say his name. I've just usually called him Lacerate anyway. He is in P. Well, he's gone up into P2, only a tenth just behind behind Tommy. Now, from what I remember from him last season, he was really good in qualifying. His one lap pace was just immense. So I don't know if he was doing a lot of time trial or what, but whenever it came to the race, there'd be times where it would just be a bit nasty for him. So hopefully he's managed to make that a little bit of improvement in the race. As I said, his qualifying pace is just is really good without a doubt. So hopefully he's managed to sort out his race pace, and if he has, then he could definitely be one that's up there with those QVR boys at the end of the season.
Yeah, and I definitely think someone else who could be in with a really good chance of actually taking away some positions from the two Renault cars is Merc. He was bigging up before the stream to me, and actually Scopefield himself, your season 1 PC champion, he said that he doesn't see himself as the favourite for this championship because
Ooh.
there were times where the likes of Skyzy and Merc would just run away with the races. So you really do have to be wary of the man in the Racing Point car. He just crossed the line, and there's a 13.3. That puts him to the top ahead of Tommy. But don't forget, that was Tommy's first lap. That's his only lap that he's put in so far. So once he comes out for his final run, they've got 6 minutes left in the session. He is probably going to be very, very lethal as more tyre grip has been laid down onto the track. They're going to be a lot faster, and of course, they'll probably run a little bit less fuel on their final runs.
Yeah, no, there certainly will. As the last person that was actually to put a lap on the board was the other QVR member of Skyzy, the runner-up from last season. He's ended up putting himself only into P7. I think he did actually slow down coming across the line, so I know that's not what he can do. He can do something a little bit quicker than that, so hopefully he does. I don't know if he's just trying to sit into the bottom 10 or what, but yeah, no proper lap on the board for Skyzy for now, as both of the Red Bulls just making their way into the pits. I thought they was going to give themselves a bit of a tow down the long straight, but Jos is going to have to play a bit of a waiting game for his teammate to go into the pits. But I don't think there's anybody else that's currently on a lap, is there?
No, another tall guy's on a run at the moment, but he's invalidated and he's pretty much run out of the RS. So I don't think he'll be putting in another time on that same set of medium tyres. Interesting to go with the yellow wall tyres. Skies, he's just rounding the final corner. Looks like he's coming into the pit lane. So what I'm expecting of these guys is that they're really just preparing for their final laps. We've got a couple of guys actually just beginning to come out on circuit. One of them is Tommy. He was on provisional pole for quite some time in the session before Merck took it off him. So you do have to watch out for him. He's got his teammate DC right behind him. They're a bit of a head-to-toe duo at the moment. DC not putting in a strong time. He currently sits in 15th position. They might be giving slipstream to one another because it doesn't seem like DC's backed off on this run.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. So just sitting on board with DC as he's just making his way down towards turn one. A bit of slipstream from his teammate. I'm sure that will gain him maybe an extra tenth or two, leading down in towards turn one, braking at that 100-meter board, making sure you keep it in around third gear and taking as much of that second and third curb as possible, making sure that you don't invalidate. However, second DRS zone of 3 also being opened up, leading up in towards turn 4 again, braking at that 100-meter board, and he's only 100th up on his time when his best time was on a set of the mediums. How I don't know if he's going to be improving on this lap. Maybe through sector 2 is where he may have botched it, I suppose, is the nicest way of putting it. So we'll keep on board with the Hash driver, keeping it into 5th gear, coming through probably what is probably the hardest part of this track, the tight and twisty S section. Very easy to invalidate throughout all of these. Now into the third and final DRS zone on the track. Of course, his teammate just up ahead of him. He is in 0 ERS, so he, I believe, is getting ready to go for another lap. He may just let his teammate on by very, very shortly because his teammate is still carrying on a lap. But DC coming around the final corner now, keeping it in around sort of third gear as Tommy goes into the pits. DC up to the line, and he goes into P12 with a 14.4 to his name. Only in P12 goes the Hash driver.
Yeah, and even despite that, he had a really strong improvement. He was a second up on his previous best time as Lacarate's just begun on his lap. He's currently just starting up the second sector, only a tad bit down on his previous best first sector. Could be very strong from him. I've had a little glitch there, and I've gone on board with the Haas when it still said I was on board with Lacarate there, but I'm back on board with the Mercedes car, and he's doing quite nicely so far. Scopefielder has just crossed the line. He's gone into
Ooh.
third, and there's Lacarate. going into the wall, unfortunately, on his qualifying lap. You have to say that's his qualifying over, because he's still got to get back to the pits and then go out once again. He probably could pip in right at the end of qualifying, but really unfortunate for him there. He's got end plate damage and a little bit of a T-tray on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I think that's his qualifying over and done with. I don't think he's going to be able to get any sort of improvement done by the time he gets in and out of the pits. There isn't going to be enough time for him to cross the line and still get a lap done anyway. So just riding on board with Skyzy as he's now just started his lap, getting a little bit of a tow off of his teammate leading up in towards turn 4, and he's only he's still 13 thousandths of a second down on his time, and unfortunately taking that a bit too wide, he has unfortunately invalidated his lap. So I don't know if he is going to try and line himself up to do one more lap. I mean, sitting in P8 at the moment, there's still a chance for a few other guys to go ahead and make an improvement, so he could start on what I'd like to call the poor man's pole in P11. You never know. Just seeing if there's anybody else that's currently on a lap. I think another Tool Guy and Yoss up ahead are currently on laps. So we'll go on board with actually Yoss, because I think he is the furthest one up on a lap at the moment. The Dutchman, of course, getting a couple P3s to his name last season. I think one that I instinctively remember, I believe, was Monaco. He ended up finishing 3rd in last season. Just kept it as clean as he could, and, well, of course, it paying off for him. So the Dutchman just rounding the final corner and up towards the line. His time originally was a 15.0. Is it an improvement? It is, but only by 3 tenths of a second, and just besting his teammates. So 13th and 14th for the Red Bulls. I'm sure they want something better than that. As it looks like another Tool Guy has managed to put himself into P9, a 13.9 to his name as well. I think that might be his qualifying all done and dusted as well. SK Fast just up ahead, coming through the double right-handers, I think is going to be improving on his lap time. I don't know if he was up on Sector 1, but just keeping an eye on it through Sector 2, through the S section, of course, getting ready to open up that DRS as well. Not invalidating, so that's a good sign for him. As, yeah, he is currently 2 tenths up on his time, and I believe, in fact, Merckx is up ahead of him coming around the final corner. So our current pole sitter, he's just making his way around the final corner now. Skyzy, no improvement to his name. Merckx didn't actually end up improving, went 7 thousandths of a second down on his time, so at least he's kept it a bit more consistent, as SK Fast didn't end up improving either.
Yeah, Kanga Corner's crossed the line. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's all good. It's all good.
Right, that was good. I was talking for a little bit about another Tool Guy, and doesn't seem like it was able to be heard. So Tommy's just crossing up the line now. He's improved by about one and a quarter tenths almost, only enough for P3. I'm just trying to see if anyone else is actually finishing up their laps. I don't know if there is. I think Masterius is finishing up his run at the moment.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's actually gone purple in Sector 2, so could potentially be challenging these guys at the front. And currently into P7, the two Mercs in 6th and 7th place as we speak. Very low on ERS is Mastarius, though, as he's just making his way around the final corner now. His debut for the PC League, and in across the line, goes up ahead of our current PC champion of Scopefielder. So Scope now knocked down into P5. If he wants the form that he wants in that was in last season, he's gonna have a tough one for it.
Yeah, and someone who he sees as a championship rival, Merckx on pole position with his teammate right behind him as well. So the Racing Points really could be challengers to the dominant Renault team of last season. They might have some issues, Skies and Scopefielder, with this pairing.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. As I was saying, like, I think it was MJ was saying in like before starting any of the comms for this season that KangoCom was going to be up there to challenge. Well, so far he's definitely proven it right. So we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, quali, it's only halfway there. It's the races where it counts, but Merckx is the one that has put it on pole position with KangoCon in P2, so Racing Point 1-2, with Tommy in 3rd and Mastarius in 4th, Scopefielder in 5th with Kislyak in 6th, Lacrate in 7th with Skyzy in 8th, another Tool Guy in 9th on his debut as well, SK Fast in P10, Zarp in the poleman's pole position in P11, DC in 12th with Yoss in 13th, MJ Coop in 14th, and Plop or Plow Up in 15th, rounding out that final position, so hopefully he is able to try and make up some more positions on his return, of course, to F1 PC.
Well, looks like we're going to get ready to go very soon. I'm quite excited for this race. I know Mexico can't be the best track all the time, but yeah, I think these guys do have potential to do really well. There's a nice field spread. Sorry for just making that little mistake there, but I definitely think that there'll be one to watch.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys are going to go. It looks like it's an all dry race as well, so we will just, of course, wait for all of these guys to ready up. I think we'll have to wait until I think it's Jos or Merckx give the go ahead for them to start the race or for them to ready up as well. But whilst we wait, Dan, obviously I know it's your first season as well doing comms for Invictus, and hopefully many more to come. Do you see who you think could possibly be in the top three? Obviously, I know we've had a bit of experience with Skyzy and Scoped just from PS4, but do you reckon you see anybody else also challenging these guys?
Yeah, well, as you said, I've only really seen Scopefielder and Skyzy, but just from their qualifying kind of prowess, I definitely think that Tommy, Merck, and Lacarate can be ones to watch out for. As you said, Lacarate doesn't have the best race pace, so if he can really pin that down, he'll definitely be one who can fight for top three positions. But I'd still say that the favourites are going to be Skyzy and Scopefielder just on their performances from last season, looking at the standings. But yeah, as I haven't really experienced these guys at all. This is my first time ever doing PC commentating, so I haven't experienced any of them in any other leagues at all. So it'll definitely be a shock for me, this race.
Yeah, no, it certainly will. And I'll quickly just going to change something right about now, so bear with me. Uh, uh, uh. So, of course, as I said, this is the first round of the season for Invictus, season 12 on the PC side. Of course, PC F2 also currently going on. There won't be any sort of stream on for it for this evening. 17 turns around the Autodromos Hermanos. I've probably absolutely butchered that name. 3 DRS zones also going into it. So hopefully we can have ourselves a very, very exciting race to come. Mexico usually does give us some good racing, well, just experience from the PS4 side anyway. Hopefully the guys on the PC side will be able to crown a new champion, not a new champion for the season anyway. Hopefully we can get something going in regards to that as well. I am very much looking forward to seeing how and who is going to come out on top of all of that. But just rounding towards the end of this formation lap, of course, Merckx putting it on pole position to start off with, a very good time for him. As I said, he was one that was challenging those two QVR boys at the end of last season when he did end up joining. Kangokon, Tommy, Mysterious, of course, on their debuts this evening as well, as Kislyak in 6th, another tall guy, Zarp, DC, a lot of new guys on the F1 PC side. So there's not a lot of knowledge on these guys, but I'm very much looking forward to it. If this is how qualifying is going to go throughout the rest of the season, where they're actually challenging the QVR guys, then this is going to make for a very, very exciting battle throughout this season, as everybody is now just making their way up towards the line, and we can get this started for the first round of season 12.
Ooh, it's going to be a great one, I think.
Is that, yeah, without a doubt, it's going to be a very, very good one. And I suppose we better wait, because I believe the 5 red lights are about to start getting underway. As here we go, they've come on a bit earlier than what I was anticipating, but here go the 5 red lights. To start off Invictus, it is lights out and away we go. Both the racing points getting a very good start off to the... well, to season 12 anyway. Tommy trying to go alongside Kangokon, leading up in towards turn 1. However, Mysterious also trying to follow on. You don't really want to be starting on pole position here, because it is a very long turn, or a very long straight down towards turn 1. Tommy trying to go around the outside of both of the racing points to have the inside in towards turn 2. A little bit of collision with one of the racing points up front, but they're still both side by side of Kangokon and Tommy. Mysterious also trying to get his way in there, as well as Lacarate trying to maybe go down the inside of our PC champion off scope fielder in towards turn 4, trying to hold it down the inside, make sure he doesn't want to make contact with his teammate, still holding it around the outside of turn 5, and I don't know if he's going to be able to keep that position. Scope may just have that one in the bag. Yes, he does. Kislyak also losing out that place to Lacquerate. Kislyak now down in the P7, holding off the the second to the champion of Skyzy down in P9 now. He started, I think it was in P8, unfortunately losing that place to another tall guy, but the top 4, sorry, have managed to keep their position so far, as MJ Coop already on the first lap with a penalty.
Yeah, Tommy just sneaking up the inside of Kangaskhan coming into the stadium section. It's a dream start for Merckx. He's already dropped all the cars behind him out of DRS range, and of course we won't be seeing that until the start of lap number 3, and as they just cross the line, it'll be Merckx, of course, second the fastest lap. The first lap is always going to go to whoever's leading at the time, but now on the run up towards turn number 1, SK Fast unfortunately coming to the pit lane. He must have had some form of damage. Can Kangaskhan challenge Tommy in towards turn number 1? It doesn't look like it as of yet, but if DRS comes into play in just a couple laps time, he'll be right onto the tail of the Hash car.
Yeah, he certainly will. Very good start from all of those guys. Tommy managing to get past one of the racing points. 1.4 seconds now separates Merckx and Tommy. Bit of a timing glitch going on the left-hand side. You know, the usual Codemasters, I suppose. But, yeah, SK Fast coming in at the end of the first lap. Did end up changing this when going on to a set of mediums. So, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you might be able to do 2 sets of mediums to the end of the race. If not, you may have to go on a set of the hards to the end of the race. But, yeah, Merckx just managing to hold that lead for now, and I believe Tommy's already starting to get away from the other racing points, so Tommy could be well challenging Merckx. I think he is starting to catch up to him ever so slightly, as I believe everyone just sort of remaining in a line at the moment, just waiting for that DRS and lap 3, well technically, yeah, lap 3 actually, on that third DRS zone. But yeah, Merckx, very good start from him. Kangaskhan unfortunately losing out to the lead, as Tommy coming across the line and setting the fastest lap with a 17.0.
Yeah, he seems to be pulling in Merckx ever so slightly. I believe it was about 3/10 is what he managed to pull up onto the car just in front of him, as Skyzy's looking for a move on another tall guy on the run up towards turn number 1. He's got the right hand side, the inside line, and it looks like another tall guy's still trying to fight this, holding him around the outside, and now they've come to blows. There's a little bit of contact, and Zarb's actually going to oh sorry, that's DC going side by side with Skyzy on the run up towards turn number 4. Unfortunate there that there was contact, and Skyzy was the one that paid the price. He's trying to fight DC for it, but that is a position lost, and unfortunately he wasn't able to make the move on another tall guy that was trying to make. You can see the yellow fuel light on board with the Renault car. He's running low on fuel, as Tommy has got a 3-second time penalty early on. That is not going to help him.
Yeah, definitely won't help his run to try and catch up to Merckx, especially now with that 3-second time penalty. He's going to be 3 seconds, not on track, but after the race is done, already 3 seconds disadvantage from Merckx in the lead of the race so far, and he's still 1.1 seconds, so he won't even have DRS. But luckily for him, Kangaskhan won't also have any DRS, so it's all up to Masterius in P4, just holding it around 4 tenths, although at that final corner, I think he got a very, very poor run out of that, so he's going to lose a lot of momentum to Kangaskhan. He will have the DRS to help him gain that time back. However, it won't be enough for him to get any sort of move done. Maybe leading up towards turn 4, he could possibly be looking for a move, but he needs to get a bit more closer if he wants any chance of getting any sort of move done. Meanwhile, feeling a little bit further back, I can see DC just trying to eye up a move on another tall guy. Of course, Skyzy being unsuccessful with it to start off with. DC with that DRS wide open, overtake on to his name as well. Another tall guy just trying to hold it down the inside. DC going around the outside of the Alfa Romeo, getting that move done. Skyzy now also want to try and get a piece of this as well. Not able to get that move done, has to stick behind another tall guy. DC now up into P8 from, I think he started down in P10, I think it was.
Well, regardless of what it wasn't a good qualifying, and it really just shows that race pace is a lot different from qualifying, and he's really shifted it up again. Another tall guy picking up a 3-second time penalty, but he's got a 2-second gap, as actually Skyzy just makes a move on the Alfa Romeo car, so it's a little bit of payback for the with a little bit of a squeeze and a couple of laps to go, but 2 seconds is the gap between Kislyak and DC, so he's got to make up that time. He already seems to be pulling him ever so slightly, and he'll be into that DRS train if he just keeps up this pace.
Yeah, he certainly will. Just run on board with the guy in P4. Mysterious trying to go down the inside of KangoCon with the DRS. Instantly getting that move done straight back onto the racing line before even reaching the corner. Gets that move done. The Mercedes now up into P3. 1.7 seconds is the gap between himself and the Haas up in front of him, and already brought that down by about 2/10. KangoCon not getting the run out of turn 4 he would have wanted. Scope just in a bit of in the middle of this DRS train now, led by the Mercedes of Mysterious.
Yeah, so he just wants to slowly close up to the two in front of him, get into that podium position, and then begin to hunt down Tommy and Merkt. Merkt has begun to stretch his gap ahead to Tommy, who's begun to stretch his gap to Mysterious by about 1.5 seconds. Lacerate is actually closer to Scopefielder than Scopefielder is to KangoCon. Of course, in this DRS train, it will be very difficult to actually make an overtake on the straights, where it would be a lot easier. There's a yellow flag, and I believe that is Plop actually losing the car through the S's. So as you said, very tricky part of the circuit, not only for penalties, but as well as just over driving the car and completely losing it. And that seems to be what he's done there, unfortunately.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him indeed, whereas his teammate is currently at the back of this DRS train in P7. He's just sort of remaining there for now, maybe just try if he can play his cards right when it comes to the pit stops, as we're already into lap 6 of 36, a sixth of the way, well, almost a sixth of the way into this race already. If he plays his cards right, however, he could potentially get a bit of an undercut on all of these guys, as strategy-wise around here, if anybody doesn't know, it's usually around a 2-stop for a soft to medium, soft or soft medium. Some people do tend to go with soft medium just to get the undercut, but it's not particularly the quickest strategy, so we'll see if any of these guys do end up trying to go for 2 sets of mediums, or if the rest of the guys are going to end up going on 2 sets of the softs come towards the end of the race. I mean, a few guys might even try and take the softs to go on to the hards to the end of the race, but they will sort of die off quite well eventually towards the end of the race. But at this minute we're still stuck in this little bit of a DRS train from 4th all the way down to P7, but it looks like it's starting to break up a little bit more.
Yeah, they're getting to the point where their tyres aren't at the point where they need to come to the pit lane, but they're just at the point where they're starting to lose that initial pace, that kind of sheen that they have at the beginning of the Grand Prix. So they're just settling into a rhythm at this point. It looks like the medium tyres are starting to gain time on the softs. I've been watching the 2 Alfa Romeos of Zarp and another Tool guy. It seems like Zarp has begun to pick up a little bit of pace, and I think that might be down to the tyres. You can see he's in the DRS of his teammate, and where's he going to pull to? He's going to pull to the right-hand side, the only place you would go into turn number 1, and he's got that move even before that corner comes. Another Tool guy cannot fight that, and unfortunately he's outside the top 10 now, as there's more yellow flags. That's in the 3rd sector. I believe that is SK Fast, the only car, and the lone Ferrari at the moment. Really unfortunate. He's just not having a good race today.
No, he certainly isn't. All the way down in 15th position on those medium tyres. Of course, had to come in early. He's coming in once again. So SK Fast, it's gone from bad to worse for him. I don't know if he's just going to retire the car early on in lap 7. Yep, he certainly is. First DNF on the PC side for season 12 goes to SK Fast, the only Ferrari on the PC side, unfortunately. So hopefully he is able to maybe try and make something up with that as well. And I'm really hoping that there's not going to be any sort of glitches in this, because I've just seen yellows in sector 1, 2 and 3. Although I can see why, because I think it is Plop once again, unfortunately, going around, and he's gotten himself wing damage this time around.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how he lost that car, and he's dropped it there, unfortunately. Just trying to get back onto the traction early, and that is 2 end plates missing on both sides. So yeah, he's just not having a good day of it either. He's a long way back from Jos up ahead of him. He had a spin just a couple laps before, and I think he might have just gone straight on at he might be trying to retire it here, and I'd hope that he's not doing so, because if he is, then that might trigger a safety car. So could be a little bit intentional, the safety car being caused, and I really hope that just isn't the case.
Yeah, hopefully it isn't. Otherwise, it's just it's sort of just going to ruin it just a little bit for the other guys, especially the guys that have actually come in that have made their pit stops, which we didn't actually manage to catch. Tommy, Mysterious and Skyzy all came into the pits already on lap 7 for a fresh set of mediums. So I think what I was talking about earlier with those some people may be going for 2 sets of softs, some people going for 2 sets of mediums. From the looks of things, second and third position, or the ones that were in net second and third, are going for 2 sets of mediums. However, it looks like the 2 racing points could be going for 2 sets of softs, as Mysterious, who was third position, now has himself a time penalty.
Yeah, a lot of guys, pretty much everyone from 5th to 12th have a penalty to their name. Only a couple of drivers yet to get 3 warnings for track limits. The 2 racing points are part of that select few, and Kangaskhan losing the position to Scope Fielder. It almost seems like he let him by there because he pulled off to the right hand side, then immediately tucked back into the slipstream of the Renault car. So he moves up ahead of Kangaskhan. I think Kangaskhan might also be losing another position very shortly because he's got Kislyak for company just behind him in that AlphaTauri car. He can't get the move into turn number 4, but Kangaskhan seemingly struggling at the moment in comparison to his rivals, as tyres might have gone off a little bit more than he would have hoped. Probably in all that fighting that he's been doing so far, could have worn out the rubber a little bit too much, and he's paying the price for it, it seems.
Yeah, it looks like Kislyak is all over the back of him. Kangaskhan just can't seem to get these tyres working anymore. I'm assuming we may see him come into the pits this lap if Merckx doesn't make his way in. Of course, now 4 seconds up the road from our PC champion of Scope into P2. His teammate ended up coming in last lap. I'm assuming Scope will possibly be doing the same for this lap. If he comes in this lap, I believe he may be able to make the soft to medium, soft or soft medium work as well. As I believe Merckx, he is in, so Kangaskhan is going to have to wait another lap. And Scope actually decides to stay out, as well as Kislyak, as well as Lacqueret and DC all stay out as well.
Yeah, so the only soft runner to have pitted was our race leader of Merckx. We'll see where he comes out in comparison to Tommy, who's got that 1 lap undercut on his rival, and that might not seem like much, but he's just rounding the final corner. He's actually got DRS as well, which is going to assist him, as Merckx has just left the pit lane now, and this is going to be really tight between the 2 race leaders. You can see how much of a difference that 1 lap undercut has made for Tommy. He's just a little bit too far back to make a send into turn number 1, but he's going to be all over the back, and he's actually got DRS on Merckx.
Yeah, he certainly does. So, Tommy, we could be seeing a bit of a lead change here. Of course, Tommy with that 3-second time penalty to his name. Merckx, nothing to his name as of yet. DRS wide open for the Haas driver, but is not going to be able to get any sort of move done. Tommy just having to remain behind the racing point in P7, what is a net first position. Merckx comes out on top of that on 1 lap fresher tyres as well, so I'm assuming Tommy might actually be also on that same strategy, soft to medium to soft. So well, I suppose it's a battle to the end with these guys. Penalties of course are going to play a massive part into this. One that does seem to be losing out, however, is Mysterious down in P10. He's stuck behind Yoss, who's yet to make a pit stop and has had to yield as well going down through the stadium section. He did have that DRS on the Red Bull, so he's had to wait for that, as Scope, Kangaskhan, Kislyak and Lacqueret all into the pits, as DC now takes the lead of the race. Result now in second place. Scope actually going for a different strategy than what the rest of these guys are on. He's come out up ahead of Kangaskhan on a set of the softs. There go, of course, the top 3 that were in the top 3 before their pit stops. Scope about 3 seconds down the road from those guys, as Plot once again going around at the end of turn 3.
Yeah, he's just been lapped by the net race leader as well of Merckx. Lacqueret getting a 3-second time penalty, but Scope Fielder, he will be a lot quicker than his rivals at this point in the Grand Prix. He's got quite the gap up to Mysterious ahead, as Plot's just getting out of his way, but he'll be able to push away from Kangaskhan and Kislyak, the likes behind him, as I think that yellow flag is still just for Plot getting out the way, but he will have to go onto a set of mediums, of course. It is mandatory 2 different compounds of tyres, and he's might just got a warning there, did Scope Fielder. He definitely went quite a ways off the track, and Plot losing the car again, and he's around at the same corner that he was before.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him indeed, as DC getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. If he is doing a 2-stop, he's going to have to serve that one, unfortunately, for him. So DC, if he wants to try and get that removed, that's unfortunate for him, because he's not going to be able to do that. But just interestingly enough as well, just on board with the battle between Lacqueret and Skyzy, when that incident with Plot was happening through sort of the I think it was turn 4 and turn 5. Lacrate got past Skyzy just before hitting those yellow flags, and I think Skyzy wanted to try and up a move going down in towards turn 5, but because of that yellow flag, he wasn't able to try and defend that position. He had to give that up, and is already dropped back from 1 second behind Lacrate.
It's really unfortunate for Skies. He's just not had the best start so far to this season. He's currently sitting in 10th. He'll jump 2 other cars once they come into the pits of Zarp and Joss as well. Of course, they haven't made their first pit stop, first of 2. I would be expecting, unless they're going to go for the hard compounder tyres, which does tend to be the slower strategy around this circuit, but you can just see the difference in fresh and worn rubber makes just by watching Kangaskhan trying to go for a move on Yoss, and Yoss isn't even going to fight this at all. He lets Kangaskhan go to the inside line, and that is the position. So now 2.7 seconds is the gap to Scopefield up ahead. This is going to be a P5 once, of course, Zarp comes into the pit lane. So we'll be chasing P4 for a long time now, and unfortunately, Skies are picking up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, 3 out of the remaining 14 drivers yet to pick up a penalty. Of Scope picking up the fastest lap of the race. I think Yoss, has he gone round? No, he hasn't gone round. I'm not too sure what happened there. I don't know who's the one that's causing the yellows. In fact, I have found out it's once again Plop. Unfortunately for him, he's gone on the set of the hard, so may try and go there towards the end of the race, or unfortunately already being lapped by quite a few other guys. Interestingly enough, as I said, with Scope going on a set of the softs, it's allowed him to catch back up to those guys that were leading that pack. He's now within 5 seconds, within 3 seconds of Mysterious, as Merckx picked up a 5-second penalty for some strange reason.
It's gone for ignoring yellow flags, but he didn't overtake anyone in this period, as he's just retaking the lead from Zarp, so it's no longer a net P1. It is P1 for Merckx, but he might need to have that one looked at by the stewards. But of course, if he does, he will have to make another pit stop. He'll probably have to serve that, and you can't get that removed once it's been served. So really, Merckx, just bad luck with the F1 games completely glitching out like they do quite often. So really unfortunate for Merckx there.
Yeah, Codemasters, as per usual, deciding they want to screw over the guys that usually play the game as well, and especially the one that's currently in the lead of this race. So that could potentially mean that Tommy will go in towards the net lead of the race once, because as I said, Merckx is going to have to serve that one. Bit of an interesting battle going on here for P9. DC just trying to hold his own against Skyzy and Yoss. I think DC just getting past Yoss, and now Skyzy also just getting past Yoss. So Yoss unfortunately dropping down 2 positions. Still yet to make a pit stop is the Dutchman though, but I'm assuming he may try and go for 2 sets of softs towards the end of this race. It's just dropping him back place after place for him, and his teammate is still 13 seconds down the road as well, as Plop has unfortunately left the session after being lapped twice.
Yeah, he was having some internet issues in qualifying as well, so I wonder if he'll be able to get back in, and if he has a spare invite, as Tommy's onto the back of Zarp. Zarp just going to begin to lose positions because of the fresher rubber on the Haas car. He's going to fight it a little bit harder than he did against Merck, and he's actually just closed the door completely, coming to the hairpin, and he's really fighting for this position. I think Tommy won't be best pleased with Zarp at the moment. Of course, staying out for another lap. These mediums still can be stretched a little bit more than he has, but this should be the easiest move of Tommy's life. You can see which way is he going to go. He's going to pick the inside line. He's run out of ERS completely, but he doesn't even need it to make that move on top, and he moves back onto the racing line into the braking zone. That is P2, and now he's on a chase. 1.5 seconds is the gap to Merckx ahead. I'm just wondering how much is he going to close.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I was just about to say as well before that move happened that at the moment Merck's best friend is going to be Zarp, trying to make sure that he holds Tommy as much as possible. But unfortunately for him, just due to the power of DRS, already getting that move done and already soaring up ahead of them. Interestingly enough, Mysterious and Scopes have managed to catch up to the back of these guys, but Mysterious could not find a move done, and Scoped on these fresh set of softs, well, he needs to start making moves, because these softs are going to start to die out soon. They usually only last about 4 or 5 laps before they start dying off, and at the moment Scoped, he's just stuck behind Mysterious and stuck behind Zarp, and I think he's still going to have to be stuck behind Zarp when Zarp will also have DRS to Mysterious.
Yeah, so it's just everything falling into the wrong place for Scopefielder, but you can see he's trying to look for a move on Zop, who's beginning to struggle on these medium tires. He's got a lot less pace than the drivers in front of him. Nevertheless, he's going to stay out on circuit, and with DRS, he might be able to fend off the charging Scopefielder, but here he comes. Look at how much ERS he's managed to store up, has Scope, and that is an easy move for Scopefielder, and now he'll be on the chase with Mysterious, and this could be a real fight between the pair of them.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm just quickly looking on board as well. This battle here for P6. Kangokon trying to defend from Kislyak in 7th position in the other AlphaTauri. One AlphaTauri having a very good race so far for his debut, and same with Kangokon. Both of these guys, as I said, making their debuts for tonight, and both having a pretty good race so far. Obviously, I'm sure they would like to be up there with the likes of Scope, Mysterious, and Tommy, but at the moment they're still doing. Was still doing pretty well, especially as I said for their debut race. But at the moment, Mert just looks like he's on another class of his own. Very unfortunate for that 5-second penalty, however. Hopefully, it can sort of be looked at the end of this race, but I suppose we may never know if that will end up getting looked at or not. We'll probably be able to let you know come the next stream next week. But at the moment, Mysterious, he's managed to get within 8/10 of Tommy, so Mysterious could still be within a shout of snatching that P2 from Tommy, and this could potentially actually be the net race lead fight. Because of Mert having that 5-second penalty, he's going to have to serve it. So there is a potential that these guys at the moment are all fighting for this first position.
Yeah, you can just see he's not utilising any of his ERS. He's not close enough to the Haskell to really mount a challenge for the position on him. But you can see he's reeling him in. Scope is still in this fight as well. He's about 4/10 back from Mysterious, so he could still be within a shout. He'll be weak towards the end of the race because he'll be on mediums against softs. But you still can't count him out, of course. The Season 11 champion. He's going to have a couple tricks up his sleeve, and if that means getting past these guys early on and trying to build a gap before the pit stop phase, then he's probably going to have to really be forced to make that move on Mysterious very, very soon, and just say, you know what, if you can't catch Tommy, I will. Come along with me and maybe you will see. And I'm starting to rhyme, so I do apologise for that.
I'm sure we'll start breaking out into song very soon, but yeah, at the moment Kislyak just sort of still stuck behind the racing point of Kangokon in a P5, still not able to find a way past the racing point, although he has got quite a lot of ERS in comparison to what the racing point has. Although to be fair, I think the racing point's still got quite a little bit of ERS that he can utilise for defence, and he is using a bit of that right now just to make sure he gets a much better exit than what Kislyak is, although Kislyak, a decent exit from him as well, as you can see just in the distance, those top second down to 4th, as in fact it looks like Tommy's starting to catch Mercked ever so slightly. I'm not too sure what's happening with Mercked, but he's on 2 lap fresher tyres compared to all of those guys up ahead of him, behind him, sorry, other than Scope of course, so I'm not too sure what's happened with Mercked.
He might have just made a mistake somewhere along the line, but yeah, Tommy's really beginning to pull him in. It was about 1.5 seconds earlier on, and of course that extended to almost 3 seconds, so Tommy's really reeled him in just on this last lap alone actually. So I wonder, Mercked, now he's pulling away from him, so I think that was just one huge mistake that cost him a couple of tenths from Mercked, and that allowed for Tommy to catch up. But even so, it seems like these two are a little bit in sync at the moment. You'll pull away from him, and then Tommy will catch right back up.
Yeah, so it's just a battle of who's going to be the one that makes the mistake first. Of course, if Tommy makes a mistake, he could be dropping in 2 places from Mysterious and Scope. If it's Mert that makes a mistake, it's more just him costing a little bit of time, especially when he comes out at the end of those pits. He really needs to start making a bit more of a gap if he still wants a chance of being able to lead this race come towards that checkered flag. Although the only thing I would suggest is that he won't have a 3-second time penalty to his name at the end. At this moment, that could all sort of change because we've only just gotten to halfway through in this race. So there could still be a chance that Mert could pick up a penalty. Of course, Tommy having 1 penalty to his name, and Mysterious I think also has just the 1 penalty to his name. In fact, no, both of those guys have 2 penalties to their names. So there is still a chance of Mert being able to jump those guys on penalties. Scope, however, could be a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, of course, it will be at the end of the race. Merckx will be on the softs, and then Scope will be on the medium tyres, so we'll have that advantage. But of course, if Scope is managing to get a huge undercut, it will be very difficult to make up that position. Of course, I'd expect Scope to start thinking about a pit stop very, very soon in comparison to his rivals and get a big undercut on them. He might come out in the net race, or you would expect him, because of course Merck is going to be serving that 5-second time penalty that he has picked up for some unbeknownst reason. Scope has been on these soft tires for 7 laps. They're getting to the point where they will begin to fade away, and you can see that pace that he had where he was catching Mysterious at a rate of knots has pretty much dissipated, and now he's actually beginning to lose time to the Mercedes car ahead. So definitely it'll be in the back of his mind, when am I going to pit? I need to pit very soon, as there's a yellow flag through a second sector. I think that was Yost having a little bit of a spin there.
Yeah, it certainly was. I'm just on board with this battle here, going for P7, DC and Lacrate. Lacrate trying to hold it down the inside and towards turn 2. Bit of contact with the both of them. I think Lacrate before he had a bit more room to play with, but DC managing to get that move done down the inside of turn 3. DC's now up into P7, going straight back onto the racing line, does the Haas driver. And now these guys, well, massive battle going on. Skies is now joining this battle going on 11 lap old medium tyres. You've got to think he's also probably going to be making them another pit stop very, very shortly. I'm not too sure if he's going to sort of manage to take this to about lap 26, when you could put on another set of soft tyres to go to the end of this race. As still this battle for P5, Kislyak still not being able to find a way past KangoKon. I don't know if he's just sort of playing it a little bit safer, because these are the only two guys now without any sort of penalty other than Merckx once he has served it. I think these guys are just playing it a little bit more preservative and just making sure that they get to the end of this race without any penalties and try and jump as many people as they possibly can.
Yeah, well, despite its length, this is a very tough circuit to save up the ERS because of how fast it is. And you can see Kislyak might actually be trying to look for a move into the first corner. He's not utilizing any ERS. He could go for a move if he wanted to, but he's probably just thinking about the vulnerability that he'll have against KangoKon. He doesn't want to wear out these tires, so he's really thinking about the bigger picture at the moment, as to when they really do need to make a move, and that'll probably be just before the pit stop. So around about lap 27, 28 is when I'd say they'd probably come into the pit lane for 9 lap olds medium tires, then to go onto the softs towards the end of the race. Kisljak's most likely waiting for that opportunity, because you'll be able to save up the ERS, of course, in the pit lane, so it doesn't really make a difference if you blast it all at the end in your in lap. So realistically, he's just waiting for that opportunity, but he's losing time to KangoKon, so it might just be him being a little bit slower in the second sector, and that's not allowing for him to get close enough to utilize all of his overtake on the straight.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, and hopefully Kislyak was going to be able to stay within these two, because as I said, they're the only two so far, of course, other than Merckx picking up that bizarre penalty, who have yet to pick up a penalty. And speaking of people coming into the pits, Scope being that one to make his way into the pits on a fresh set of softs. He's going on to, a fresh set of mediums and coming straight back out. So Scope could be in that net race lead, especially with the guys up ahead of him having 6 seconds of penalties. Merckx having to serve that 5 seconds. Scope, well, where he was saying that he may not be a title favourite for this season, strategy-wise, he might have pulled it off.
Yeah, and he's come out in a nice bit of clear air. He's 11 seconds back from his teammate. Of course, he'll make all of that up once the pit stop phase comes for him. But he's also got a really nice gap to Zarp behind him, who's committed to this one-stop strategy. It seems. I think he's only made one stop, and yeah, it has been one stop for Zarp, and he won't have to come in for a set of softs, because those hard tires were easily taken towards the end. So Scope really has come out in a perfect position to just run his race. He's got plenty of ERS to utilize on the straight once he sees that everyone else is starting to come into the pit lane, which won't be too long. He's got a couple laps grace period where he can just push and do his own thing, try and make up some time and get into the net race lead, and then defend them off for the final phase of the Grand Prix. So yeah, Scope's in a really good position. It might trouble him towards the when those soft tires are at their peak, but towards the end of the race, I think he'll be within a very good chance of making up those positions.
Yeah, no, certainly will. The only thing that's just going to let him down, as you said, was just people going on those softs at the end of the race. That's where he's going to really need to, like, between now and the laps where guys are going to need to make their pit stops around 26, 27, they're really going to need to try and capitalise on, well, Scope's really going to need to try and capitalise on making up as much time as he possibly can, just to make sure that nobody else is going to be able to catch him up towards the end of the race. Of course, with him having one less penalty than these guys, it makes a massive difference. The only problem is he won't have one less penalty than Merckx. He will have one more penalty than Merckx. So Merckx really, I suppose, is going to be the one that's going to be challenging the rest of these guys once he's served that 5-second stop and go in that pit, in his second pit stop, as Mysterious very, very close to the back of Tommy now, and starting to put him under a bit of pressure. As Tommy, you can see that red flashing light on the back of his car, just meaning he has less than 10% ERS to his name. It's going to mean that you can see on Mysterious's steering wheel as well, he's at around half a bar of ERS, so he could very well be within of catching him. As Tommy, massive moment coming out of the final corner. Tommy now having to utilise his ERS, as now Mysterious chucking on his ERS. DRS wide open for the Merc as well. Goes around the outside, leading up in towards turn 1, just keeping on to that racing line as Tommy was trying to go a bit defensive, unable to defend from that Mercedes. Mysterious is now up into what I would say is possibly a second position on track and on penalties at the moment, maybe third.
Yeah, it was a really well worked move regardless from Mysterious there to get past Tommy, who is his main rival in this race. Merckx isn't too far up the road. They've just been keeping this solid around about just under 2 seconds around, behind Merckx. But just a quick word to mention that Skyzy came into the pit lane at the end of lap 23 onto lap 24. And he's actually fitted a set of medium tyres, and he pitted at the same time as Mysterious and Tommy, so these guys probably crying on the tyres at the moment. Skyzy just didn't think that he could make it to the end of the race on a set of softs, so he's gone for a second set of the mediums, and you'd have to think that Mysterious and Tommy are probably thinking that too.
Yeah, I mean, you can see now that gap's just come out by 2 seconds. I wonder if anybody is coming into the pits. Tommy is one of them coming into the pits. I don't know if he's going on a set of softs or a set of mediums, but we also need to keep an eye out on the speed of Scopefielder. He's making his way through the end of the stadium section now and around the final corner. Tommy, I think, he's just come out of his pit box now and making his way down the rest of the pit lane. There's Scope just coming across the line. Scope's going to be up ahead of Tommy, but how far is he up ahead of him? It's about 2 to 3 seconds. He's going to be up ahead of the Haas. So Scope, he needed to do, I think, a bit more to try and make sure he stays up ahead of him. As I said, his only advantage at the moment is the one less penalty than these guys.
Yeah, and 3 seconds is not a lot of time when all things considered. He's still got 11 laps to really push and take the fight to Scopefielder, and Tommy's already closing up on the Renault car in front of him, so it'll be a struggle for Scopefielder to really fend off the flying Haas car at the moment, who's going to be reeling him in every single corner, to be quite frank. So those tyres won't last forever, and he's got about 5 laps to really push on this set of softs. Then he'll have to think about conserving them, because 11 laps on this one set of tyres is definitely quite a bit to push for. As Mysterious has picked up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, so now he's not the only one. Merckx, he's just having to serve his 5-second penalty now. Mysterious just came out of his pit box, and you'll be able to see him go straight past Merckx. So Merckx going to be now behind the Mercedes. However, Mysterious now also has another 5-second penalty to his name, as Kislyak very close to the back of Kangakon for what is now the race lead, as Kangakon trying to go defensive in towards turn 4. Kislyak going around the outside. He's been waiting behind him for pretty much the majority of this race for this moment. Kislyak going to have the inside in towards turn 5. Bit of a squeeze he is giving Kangakon, but I think he may hold it on this double right-hander, although Kangakon trying to hold it around the outside to make sure he has the inside for that left-hander at the beginning of the S's. Unable to hold that one. Kislyak, on his debut, very good battle between those guys, but Kislyak the one that comes out on top, and you can already just see how much more pace he has in comparison to Kangakon. I think Kangakon's tyres are starting to wear a lot more than what Kislyak's were. I think Kislyak was just playing it a bit safe behind the racing point, so he's going to have a bit of Bit of a hard time trying to get back past that AlphaTauri. However, that DRS assistance is really going to help him out, as I believe these guys might end up coming into the pits this lap. Yep, both of them making their way into the pits. Mercked as well, I've just also realised he hasn't actually come out as far behind the other guys that are on the softs as I actually expected, as Tommy's already caught up to the back of Scope, and we've still got 9 laps to go.
Yes, so Scope will really be struggling in comparison to Tommy, as Kangokon and Kizak just leaving their boxes now. The leaders flying past them, but they're not a million miles off. They're probably not going to be too close for a fight, but if these guys begin to scrap up ahead of him, which is seemingly the case at the moment, they might pick up a penalty and could gift Kislyak and Kangokon a potential other position, but Tommy really should be thinking about a move on Scopefield. And now on the run up towards turn number 4, you can see he's in the DRS, in the slipstream. Is he going to make the move into the inside? And he's made that stick, but Scope is fighting him back here. And now coming through this sort of triangle section of the track, Tommy's holding him around the outside, and Scope losing the rear end just a little bit there, but it is okay for him. He hasn't lost the position to Mysterious, but that is really what you would have expected on the soft tyres. Now he's just got to hold off Mysterious, who's got another time penalty to his name, so he's really racking them up here, and this is going to cost him when it comes to the end of the race. He's onto the back of Scopefield, and he's looking to the outside into the stadium section. He's made that move work.
Yeah, very good move for Mysterious, but very unfortunate for him picking up that 3-second time penalty going through the, I think it was actually at the beginning of that S section leading in towards the stadium. So very unfortunate for him, as now Lacrate going down the inside of Zarp in towards the stadium section as well. Zarp, by the way, doing a one-stop from the mediums to hard, so he's on a set of hards going towards the end of this race as Mercked does pick up the fastest lap. He's already caught up to this back of, to this group, as now Tommy trying to go a bit defensive from Mysterious for this race lead. Merck technically is the one in this net race lead at the moment. Scoped is the one that's in second. But, I mean, we're going to see some very good battles, as Kislyak actually could potentially be jumping Scope. You can see that Scope, of course, having that 3-second time penalty, is Merck now getting that move done on Scope. Merck is now in a net race lead with these guys up ahead of him having penalties. 6 seconds, of course, to their name. Kislyak, by the way, I don't actually want to rule him out, because he's now only 2.7 seconds behind Scoped and is actually in second in a net second position, with those guys having 6 seconds of penalties to their name.
Yeah, well, he's pretty much guaranteed to keep it. He maybe have some warnings to appeal if he thinks that they're not correct, but of course it is unlikely that warnings do get removed unless it is just the game completely glitching out and you're getting forced off. From what I recall, he hasn't been forced off by anyone, but for now all he can do is push for the lead on circuit, as Kislyak putting in the fastest lap. He is on a charge.
Yeah, he's coming up to the back of Scopefielder now, actually. In fact, he didn't unfortunately manage to get any DRS. Already dropping Kangokon as well, despite getting that move done just before their pit stops. And you can just see how much he has pushed on, as Lacquerate, unfortunately retiring from the session. Is that Binninit going into the pit lane, or did he just go into the pit box? Because he stopped at the pit lane.
I think he was trying to come into the pits. He was in a good position, Lacquerate, and he's definitely lost that coming into the pit lane or something. He must have locked up. He probably carried up too much speed coming into the pits, and that has completely cost him. He's out of this race from a good position, trying to make his second stop. So just so unfortunate for him.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Lacquerate indeed, as Mysterious just looking through where he's doing it on the S section, and you can see he's looking like he's almost trying to cut nearly every single corner to try and get moves done, as Scope getting back past Kislyak.
Yep, that was quite ambitious from Kislyak. He tried to go up the inside into the stadium section. Scopefield has shut the door on him, defended that position well, but I think it might be time for him to tap out against Kislyak, unfortunately.
Tommy just weaving it down the long straight in towards turn 1. Mysterious now trying to go around the outside of the Haas that has been pretty much leading him for the majority of the race. Mysterious now up into the lead of this race, but 14 seconds of penalties. I'm not seeing him possibly keeping that position when it comes to the end of this race. Merck now has also come and joined these guys at this front pack. Kislyak now 2.7 seconds behind Merck, so he is still technically in second position, as Kangokon going around around the outside of Scoped, and he's also technically in with a shout of this, as Scoped just getting forced out ever so slightly to this, throughout the double right-hander even. So very unfortunate for him. He's now down in 6th position, and I don't think he's going to. I think that might be the best he is going to get. He looks like he's dropped out of the 3-second zone from both Mysterious and Tommy, and I have unfortunately just seen that you've lagged out of the session, so I'm hoping I can try and get you back in ASAP.
My game just completely crashed. I didn't lag out. The game just decided, yeah, no, I don't want to work anymore, sorry. So I'm loading back up into F1, and hopefully I'll get back in the session. I think I can probably join from one of Joss's invite. Oh, I haven't got any more, but I could probably join through his profile. I think that might work.
No, that's fine, no worries. But speaking of Yoss, actually, he's the first one that's actually managed to disqualify himself for this season. So too many penalties to the Dutchman's name. He is now out of this race. There are only 11 runners left, and MJ Coop is the one that is unfortunately at that back in P11 by 42 seconds. So both Alfa Romeos in 9th and 10th, of course, will be getting points. Anybody that is new to the Invictus League, it is the top 10 that do end up getting points, and I believe it goes still as 15 for first position, 12 for second, and then 10 for third, and then it goes 8, 6, and then I think it's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 for the remaining from 6th down to 10th position. So, and then there's also a point for the fastest lap, which at this present time is held by Kislyak in P4, of course, setting that on the last lap of the race. 1.3 seconds now. He's catching up to this group. He could potentially be trying to battle Mercked for this, for the lead of this race, as Mercked, no penalties to his name. Kislyak also has no penalties to his name, 1.3 seconds, and despite Mercked having DRS, especially up to the guys of Tommy and Mysterious, Kislyak is doing very well to catch up to these guys. Is Merck maybe trying to go down the inside in towards turn 1? Does think about it, but unfortunately he has to stay behind them. He's now stuck in a bit of a DRS train, led by Mysterious with 14 seconds of penalties. All of this is really allowing Kislyak and Kangokon to try and catch back up to them, as Tommy maybe eyeing up a move on Mysterious going in towards turn 4. Does move over ever so slightly to defend, and now it really is a massive DRS train that's going to be happening. Kislyak is now starting to close up to these guys and could potentially be joining them in that DRS in this next lap. You can see him now very, very close, or coming up to these guys as we speak. One mistake from one of them and Kislyak is going to be eating up that position like there is no tomorrow.
I've not been able to get back in the lobby yet. I don't think I've got you as a friend. I'll just quickly send you a request.
That's fine.
Just J Cole, isn't it?
Yeah, J Cole with I think _. It should come up. Yeah, I'll quickly add you now, and then hopefully from that we can just get ourselves straight underway as well. Get you in ASAP. There we are. Brilliant. Hopefully, no more issues from F1, because as I said, you know what Codemasters are like. They love giving us issues, as always. As now Mercked maybe eyeing up once again, moving towards turn 1. No, he does not. He has to stay once again behind Tommy. Tommy just braking late enough to make sure he has that apex and make sure he closed that door on the racing point. Of course, Merck's still in that net race lead. However, now Kislyak very, very close to the back of these guys. Could be a bit of under pressure if Merck tries to go for a move, and unfortunately it doesn't stick. Kislyak, as I said, he's going to be eating that position right up, as now Kangokon 2 seconds behind these guys. We've only got 3 laps left to go. I think we're about to have, I think we're in for a very tasty treat towards the end of the race here, Dan.
Yeah, of course, so Kislyak, his real fight is with Merck. He'll jump Mysterious and Tommy on penalties, as well as Kangokon has lost quite a lot of time in this fight, and unfortunately the strategy did not work out for Scopefield. He was in 6th position anyways at the first pit stop phase, so it's not too bad from him. I don't know if that is correct. I've just got on my screen fastest lap from Ploep on a 121. I don't think that's correct. So I love rejoining sessions. Codemasters just make it brilliant for us.
As always, as they always do. Yeah, no, Kislyak is definitely the one with the fastest lap of the race so far, and is actually the closest one to anybody out of this top 4, as now Kislyak starting to close up, and Tommy also starting to close up to the back of Mysterious, but Mysterious still managing to hold that first position. As I said, they're in a bit of a DRS train for these top 4, and I'm just sticking on board with Kislyak because he's the one that we really need to keep our eye out on. As you said, it's this battle between Merckx and Kislyak for this race lead, as KangoCon, I think, is being left a bit for dust now, especially with all these guys being in this DRS train, not able to capitalise on it and able to catch up like Kislyak did, although he had a bit of an oversteer moment coming through turn 5, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri, so he's just having to stay behind Merckx for now, and well, as I said, one mistake from any of these guys and that's game over for them. As I said, Kislyak and Merckx will end up taking their positions from him. As Tommy, another 3-second time penalty to his name, is scoped within time. I don't think he is. I think he might actually end up losing out that time for Tommy as well. 5.5 seconds splits him and KangoCon, and KangoCon's about 2 seconds behind him. So yeah, Scoped still, unfortunately, not in able to capitalise on the penalties from Tommy. Could still get the jump on Mysterious, however, but I don't think he is going to be able to jump Tommy. I think Tommy might be safe in P4 for now, but 2 more laps left to go of this race, and still sitting on board with the likes of Kislyak, Tommy and Merckx and Mysterious, and still no moves being able to go about, as it looks like actually Tommy getting a better run coming out of turn 3 now, as Mysterious very low on ERS, Tommy very low on ERS as well. Tommy going down the inside of Mysterious, going in towards turn 4, both still holding it side by side. Mysterious just unfortunately breaking, I think it was, trying to hold that position around the outside, unfortunately didn't manage to, and now, these guys are all very close in this top 4.
Yeah, they just need to, realistically, Mysterious and Tommy aren't fighting for much anymore, and I don't think it's too clever of them to be fighting too hard, because they could lose time to the likes of Scopefield, and DC's quite a long way back behind. I don't think they'll be affected, but the real fight is for 3rd on track, but after penalties are applied, this will be the race lead. Kislyak is just 3/10 back from Merckx, and if it weren't for the DRS, Kislyak making a mistake through the final corner. He did well to hold that there, but that's lost him a whole bunch of time, and onto the final lap, that could have been his chance blown.
Yeah, I think that was chance blown. He was very close to the back of Merckx. He looked like he may have even had the run on him if he did not have that oversteer moment as Mysterious. Trying to go around the outside of Tommy once again. I think really Kislyak wants this battle to keep on happening to make sure that it does slow Merckx down a bit more. Merckx getting a very bad run as he's had to back off from Mysterious. And now Kislyak trying to go around the outside of Merckx in towards turn 4. He's going to have Mysterious also going around that inside. They're going to go 3 wide in towards turn 4. Mysterious just trying to hold it around the outside. Merckx getting that move done, although Kislyak trying to go back around the outside in towards turn 5. He's now going to have Mysterious on his inside. Kislyak just trying to hold it, gets that move done on Mysterious, so Mysterious trying to keep his nose in there, probably shouldn't do because it's going to lose him a lot of time, as now KangoCon is right behind these guys now as well. But unfortunately for Kislyak, where Mysterious held his nose in it, Merckx has been allowed to get away, and unfortunately for him, he's now been costed for that. Merckx looks like he may end up taking the first race of the season, of season 12 of Invictus, as Mysterious, another penalty to his name. He's definitely going to be dropping back behind Scope, and there is a possibility he could be dropping back behind DC. But coming across the line now, Tommy, it was a valiant effort from him, a very good debut from him. Unfortunately, with the penalties applied, he's going to be dropping down quite a few spots, as now Merckx does take the first race of the season, and Kislyak and KangoCon on their debuts picking themselves up in P2 and P3. A valiant effort from those guys. Tommy, as I said, does end up keeping that P4 from Scope. If he didn't have that penalty, he would have unfortunately jumped him, but again, unfortunately for Scope, where he put on the softs as the second stint, it just did not pay off for him into P5. Mysterious does drop down into P6, doesn't actually end up getting jumped by Skyzy or DC in the end, as Skyzy does finish in P7 in the end. DC in 8th, and then of course the 2 Alfa Romeos in 9th and 10th, and we're just waiting for MJ Coupe to make his way up to the line, as well as he's just making his way through the S section. But what a race that was for the first race of the season there, Dan.
Yeah, really, Merck's just coming out with a bang in this season, and if it weren't for that 5 second penalty, he probably could have led more laps than he did. But of course, all that matters now is that he is standing atop the podium. Kislyak with a really strong race as well, and I believe he might have made up the most positions out of anyone. Him and DC were tied for 4 positions gained in that race, so really, really strong from Kislyak. Of course, the penalties were helping him, but with his pace overall, he was able to catch up to the likes of Tommy Mysterious and Merck, all the leaders of the Grand Prix. You really have to give it to him, and I'd say that he is my driver of the day.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of contention between Kislyak and Merck for sure. Merck, of course, leading it through the beginning. Well, I say leading it through the beginning. That 5 second penalty didn't really help him, but just keeping it clean, making sure he didn't cut any corners, made sure that he did manage to hold on. It was a good effort from Kislyak, as I said, to try and get the move done on that final lap. Just very unfortunate from another car that was just giving him a bit more of a tougher time as well. But I'm sure he will still be happy with that second place, as well as Kango Kon. Unfortunately, from second down into third, did manage to still pick himself up on that podium, and the only 3 drivers in that race that didn't end up picking themselves up a penalty. So, as I said, there are your final classifications for the first race of the season, of Season 12 of Invictus. Merck does manage to take that win. The Brit coming out on top with the Russian of Kislyak in second position, Kango Kon in third, with Tommy picking up P4 on his debut as well. It was a good race from him, unfortunate with the time penalties. Scopefielder does finish in 5th, and Mysterious again on his debut. Very good battle between those guys. Hopefully we'll see a lot more of them without the penalties this season, but he does finish in P6 with Skyzy in 7th, DC in 8th. Zarp finishing in P9, doing a one-stop strategy, just didn't unfortunately pay off for him. Another tall guy in the other Alfa Romeo in P10, getting up that final points position. MJ in 11th in the Red Bull, unfortunately the only one that didn't end up finishing with points that did still finish the race. Of course, the ones that unfortunately DNF being Blow Up, Yos, Lacare and SK Fast. But yeah, as I said, that was a very good race of the first race of the season. Hopefully, we'll be seeing a lot more of those come through the rest of the season, as I believe we also have Australia coming up next week.
Yeah, Australian could be a really good circuit for the drivers, because it is typically the first race that a lot of drivers do when they just load up the game for the first time. They just want to go as quickly as possible, and they pick Australia as the first one there. So a lot of guys have experience around this circuit, and it can make for some decent racing. There are some places where overtakes are possible, but there's really good flow to it as well. So I'd say that some drivers will be very confident in this next week for Australia.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And well, I said hopefully some guys are going to give the QVR boys a bit of a battle this season. They certainly have. 5th and 7th for those guys, and they were the ones that absolutely wiped the floor with constructors last season. So hopefully we're going to be seeing a lot more battles going on between those guys throughout the season. But thank you everybody for tuning in for the first race of the season on the PC side. My name is Jacob. Dan, have you got anything else left to say on the stream?
I guess I'd just like to thank the team at Invictus Racing League for giving me the opportunity today. I got a DM on Twitter when I asked about PC leagues to commentate on. I'm really pleased that IRL approached me and offered me to be commentator for tonight. So just thank you to the admin team for doing a great job for this league, and hopefully I can be a part of many more races to come.
Certainly can. Well, yeah, hopefully we'll be in here a lot more often throughout the rest of the season. But as I said, thank you everybody for tuning in for tonight, and we will catch you guys next week at the same time for the Australian Grand Prix for round 2.